Hey, what's up guys? So today we're gonna be taking a look at the Gnarbox 2.0. Now I do wanna preface by saying that Gnarbox did send this out for us to test out and also see how we can implement it into our workflow. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. So what is Gnarbox 2.0? You can consider this like a little mini computer. It's essentially a portable backup solution, so you're able to back up your photos, your videos, and any other file type that you have while you're on the go. Now this is really useful if you want to travel light and minimal, because essentially you don't need to bring a laptop anymore. And this is great because now it frees up space in your bag to bring additional gear. Now just to give you guys an idea of how small this thing is, I have an iPhone 11 Pro. When I bring up the Gnarbox 2.0, look at this. It's literally the same size. Obviously not in the width. The Gnarbox is a bit chunkier, but it's also not as fragile as the iPhone 11 Pro. The reason being is because it's made out of this really hard rubber. If I was to drop this right now, nothing would happen. In fact, I could actually even throw it and it probably wouldn't even scratch. Now, something else that's really great is that it's dust and water resistant because the flaps in here are actually made out of rubber, which protect the SD card reader and also the USB Type-C, which we'll talk about those in a second. Now, as I mentioned, if I was to drop this, nothing would happen because internally there is a solid state drive, which means all of your data will be protected. Now I did mention ports, and let's go ahead and talk about that. You get two USB Type-C ports, one located on the right-hand side, the other on the left-hand side. And this is great whenever you want to import any of your photos, videos using any type of card reader. So it doesn't matter if you have a CF Express card reader, XQD, or even a Red mini bag. Additionally, you can use the USB Type-C port to recharge the removable battery, which I think is great. Something else that it comes with is an SD card reader, and also you get a little micro HDMI port, which allows you to view any photos or videos inside the Gnarbox onto an external display. Now, the benefits of having multiple ports, let's say you're on a shoot and you just finished wrapping, you need to create multiple copies really quickly. Well, here's the cool thing is you can plug two external hard drives using, of course, those two USB Type-C ports, and literally with a push of a button, now I have 4 copies at the same time. I can hand one copy to my editor, I can hand the other copy to the client as a backup. Now I have another backup inside the Gnarbox and the original camera file from the SD card. Something worth noting is that Gnarbox 2.0 offers 2 types of checksum protocols, the first one being MD5 and the newly added XX#64, which means that it's going to check byte per byte, not just the file name, to ensure that all of the data that is being transferred is there. Now, this is actually very useful if you're doing some like Netflix or high-end productions because it also outputs an MHL log file, which are actually required on these types of films. And it's actually safer than just transferring it over to your computer without using any type of verification software like Shotput. Now I gotta hand it to Gnarbox, their app implementation is awesome. They've done a really great job and there's a lot of things that you can do with it, but I'm not gonna sit here and go through everything because this video is gonna be very long, but I'm gonna highlight some of my favorite ones. For example, folder presets. This is an awesome one because we are always filming with a lot of different cameras. We have a C500, we have a Fuji X-T4, an R5, and what this allows us to do is create preset folders. So I can create one for the C500, the R5, and then I can also tell it how to manage that data. For example, by file extension, by date. So let me give you an example. The other day we were on set filming the A7S III cinematic footage and I created a subfolder also for my audio mixer. So I'm gonna go here to browser, A7S III poker audio, and I can even listen to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit play.
Poker take 1, sound speed.
Camera rolling. Poker scene, take 1, marker.
And even if I want to go back and watch some of my footage, now this will depend, playback will depend on the file extension. So some things like R3D files won't play because that's kind of like a proprietary type file. But for example, C500, I'll go back to my C500, that actually plays very smoothly. Some of the ProRes, like higher quality, might have a few frame drops. Again, this is going to depend on the camera that you're using, but it's kind of nice to be able to see playback even through the app. Now here's another cool thing that you can do with folder presets is enable smart backup. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation when you think you're done filming, you've even dumped all your footage, and then you realize, oh, I forgot like 1 or 2 more shots. You go back, you take those 2 shots, and then you think, wait, Should I do a full backup again? Well, what Smart Backup does is it checks that SD card or whatever reader you put in there, and it realizes, well, we've already dumped all that other footage, but these 2 new files are new, so let's go ahead and dump those instead. That's Smart Backup, which I think is great. The other one is Flattened Folders. So I know you know this, depending on the type of camera, you have these weird folder structures like DCIM, private, root. I mean, Sony is notorious for deep diving and all that stuff. What Flattened Folders does is it gets rid of all those folders. It just gets the meat and potatoes, all the files that you need, and it just dumps them into those preset folders. Something else that we find convenient is that it supports Dropbox, but more importantly, it also supports server support. So we have a server here in the studio, and I'm gonna show you how awesome this is. So we'll use that poker audio example, and what I can do is I can literally push on this folder, and then I can either copy or move. We're just gonna copy it because we still wanna keep it here. And then from here, it says Gnarbox SSD or Mondo Byte server. I'm gonna go ahead and push on the server, and here, mind you, there's a lot of stuff here, so just bear with me here. We just have everything organized, YouTube 2020. And for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna use 5D Mark II Magic Lantern folder. I have an audio folder here, and I'm just gonna move that into my server wirelessly. Begin copy, and there it goes. It's copying everything from the Gnarbox wirelessly to our server. Now, something else that was useful that you might actually find beneficial is the ability to transcode on the go. So the other day we were actually using the drone, and drone footage is pretty heavy. It uses an H.265 file, and what that means is like your computer is gonna take a lot to process that. So what we were able to do while we were traveling is we were actually able to transcode that into a ProRes 422. Now, it's useful because while we're traveling, this is happening behind the scenes. So when we get home, we already have some nice ProRes 422 files ready to edit. Now, obviously you're not going to do this on like a big project, but this is really handy whenever you're working on, smaller little things that you just want to transcode on the go. Now, like I said, there's a lot of things that you could do within the app, but these are some of the ones that I wanted to feature. Now, I do want to provide some feedback for Gnarbox, and I kind of would like to see this in a version 3.0. So the first one is the boot up time. I feel like it takes forever. It's about a minute, to be honest, 45 seconds per se, but when you're on set, that just feels like an eternity. Granted, they can actually do a software update and fix it and just kind of make it a little bit faster, but I would like to see an improvement there. The second thing is, right now, as of filming this, you can only buy this up to 1 terabyte. I would like to see something a little bit either more, like 2 or 3 terabytes, or even the ability to implement your own storage. That would be awesome. And then lastly, their app works great. However, when you first pair it to your home, it can kind of be a little bit finicky and weird. If they can just kind of iron out the bugs there, again, that could be a software update. That would be great. But overall, really digging the Gnarbox 2.0, highly recommended. It's rugged, it's awesome. We use it all the time now, so if you're looking for a great portable backup solution, I would highly recommend them, and I'm gonna leave more information linked down below in the description. My name is Armando, thanks again for watching, and you guys will catch me in the next one. Adios.